Give them a shot to do what?
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, aka The Shy Kid, and you are listening to The Shy Kid podcast presented by Give Us a Shot Network. So make sure you give us a shot, give us some love, hit that follow button and the link in the bio below. You can always check us out covering WNBA hoops 24/7. But let's get into it. Let's get in tune because we got a lot to talk about. We had a national championship reunion. It was a lot of fun. We got a lot of things going on right now. I want to say, it was another great battle, but we also had some previous friends become foes between Kamilla Cardoso, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese. There was so much that went down tonight. Tempers were flying. Obviously, we didn't get the result that the Chicago Sky wanted, a 71-70 loss against the Indiana Fever, who are now 2-8 in their first 10 games on the year. Definitely not one of those games that you want to drop if you're Teresa Weatherspoon in the Chicago Sky organization. And we talked to them a little bit during post game, kind of about that situation and understanding that this is a team that you need to beat. This is a team that can easily be beatable. 1-8 or what? Yeah, 1-8 going into this game. First Commissioner's Cup of 2024. Obviously, it was a great one. It gave you some college vibes. Honestly, this game had a lot of college vibes to it. 11 a.m. game in Indy. Pat McAfee, Tyrese Halliburton, and company were all in the courtside view. So you love to see that. But what we saw today was a team that I felt like had a lot going on. There was a lot going on tonight for the Chicago Sky, or today, I should say. And I think we're slowly going to see them continue to develop who they are, what their identity is now with Kamilla Cardoso back. We have a lot to talk about. Her first game in the WNBA, she said in post game, she was a little anxious, but a little anxious did not show whatsoever in limited minutes because obviously, she's coming off that shoulder injury. They don't want her playing too much. She played 18 minutes. She was 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 0 3-points attempted. What I love the most from what we saw from her were 5 defensive rebounds, 6 rebounds in its entirety. She had 2 fouls and then 11 points. So she was great for the Chicago Sky all around. Kamilla Cardoso in her first game just looked like a dominant presence, a dominant force. We saw people kind of hack a shacker trying to make sure that she's not getting there and they're going to force her at the line. But I love that. 6'7", got us. I mean, she's doing her thing. So it's really dope to see her continue to grow, continue to get better every single day. We've been watching her since, draft day and they came into Chicago. She came straight from South Carolina. So it's really great to see her get back in tune, get back into it. And she just looks so happy to be out there. And, we've seen her firsthand. She looks like not upset, but you could see that she's frustrated that she's not on the court. So to have her back on the court is definitely amazing for not only Teresa Weatherspoon, but the Chicago Sky organization, who desperately needed to get bigger this past offseason. But with Isabel Harrison and Kamilla Cardoso both back in the building, Diamond DeShields is not playing this game due to illness that was on the injury report. Don't have too much on that, but it's just what it's been reported. But in this game, man, we saw a lot. We saw a lot going on between Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter, and we're going to address that in a little bit. Social media needs to be better first and foremost. I will say that the way y'all treating Kennedy Carter right now is fucking egregious to me. It's insane. And I want to say one thing first. If y'all have that energy about Caitlin Clark, you better have had it when Alyssa Thomas dropped Angel Reese the other night in Wintrust Arena. That's all I'm saying. I think right now you look at it for what it is. You understand that Caitlin Clark is your cash cow. Of course, I get it. She's bringing money to the WNBA. She's bringing in revenue. But I'm going to tell you this right now. You can tell who's hooped before and who hasn't, who plays ball and who doesn't. Because at the end of the day, whether you think that was a basketball play or not, that was a Chicago hoops play. If you ever play Chicago basketball, I mean, that shit happens every single day. I'm talking about elbows. I don't know how many times I've been elbowed in the jaw just for talking shit. I wasn't the greatest hooper once, so I'm like 5'7", so I'm not even talking shit right now. But I'm just telling you, that's a basketball play. And that's not an in-game basketball play. But if you've ever hooped at a rec league, if you've ever done AAU hoops, high school ball, JUCO, whatever, shit like that happens on the regular. So I don't want to hear none of that. Caitlin Clark out here pushing people, shoving people, talking shit. Hey, man, listen, we live in an era in basketball. Talk shit, get hit. It's always been that way. And Kennedy Carter responded. If you have a problem with Kennedy Carter, you don't watch Kennedy Carter's game. This isn't Patrick Beverly. This isn't a prolific scorer. This is somebody who gets her teammates involved. She has amazing energy. The way she conducts herself is amazing, through in and throughout. And I will go up to bat for Kennedy Carter. And I don't care if everybody in the comments says that I'm delusional because I cover the Sky. I'm this, and this because I'm a Sky fan. I don't care. Kennedy Carter responded. That's the key word, responded. You have to understand the difference. Kennedy Carter just didn't wake up and say she wanted to attack Caitlin Clark. We'll have this conversation right now because everybody wants to make it the WNBA versus Caitlin Clark. The WNBA versus Caitlin Clark. Everyone wants to act like everyone in the W hates her. No one hates her. No one hates her. What? Like, it maybe some people do. That's fine. Neither here nor there. But this narrative that people in the league despise her. Oh, we're upset because of charter flights and this, and that. No one gives a fuck. Point blank, period. You want to argue with someone? Don't argue with me. Argue with your mama because I'm not playing that game, bro. You want to have that conversation through in and throughout. Oh, everybody hates Caitlin Clark. Woe is Caitlin. Woe is Caitlin. Let's not pretend like y'all didn't try to make Angel Reese the villain against LSU and Iowa just a couple years ago because Caitlin started that shit. Caitlin talks shit daily. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan, but I'm going to address that. You have to understand, she comes at people and people clap back and then we start flopping. Then we start playing the victim game. Then we start acting like, man, that wasn't a basketball play. I don't know what happened. Get the fuck out of my face with that, bro. Like, that's crazy. That is insane. Listen, I'm not trying to personally attack anybody here. I'm just calling it for what it is. You know, we live in this era today in basketball, in the game. Talk shit, get hit. That's what happens. And vice versa. If Kennedy Carter started some ish too, I would expect somebody to handle that accordingly. You know, we see it time and time again. Like, if you watch the game and you watch the interactions between the two up until that point, you knew somebody was going to break. Did I think it was going to happen in the fashion in which it did? No, I didn't. And shout out to Kennedy for moving that way. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm sure I can't speak on this because I didn't get a chance to talk to either of them about it. But I'm sure Teaspoon probably said something very similar if I had to guess. You know, this team, the way they move, the way they conduct themselves. Was it a tech? Probably. Did it get called a tech? No. And there's a reason why it didn't. Commissioner's Cup, you know, we're having fun. It's a playoff atmosphere. I'm going to tell you this right now. This team is going to be the first person to punch you in the mouth. That's how they move. This team wants to win. They want to hit you first, and they want to keep you there. Kennedy Carter was lighting a spark. Kennedy Carter was addressing a situation that had already happened prior. I truly believe that, and I stand with Kennedy Carter. And if you don't stand with Kennedy Carter, hey, that's on you. I'm not trying to, you know, persuade you one way or the other. All I'm saying is pay attention because it's a two-way street all the time. There's two stories, three stories, really. There's one person's perspective, the others, and then the truth. So we saw both people's perspective, but nationally, we only saw Caitlin Clark's perspective, which I thought was insane. The media is trying to push this narrative that everybody hates her and this, and that. That's bullshit, and I'm over it. Like, listen, I mean, I have watched them drag Angel Reese through the mud in her collegiate career, making her the villain, making LSU the bad guys. Caitlin Clark's the savior. All I ever see is Caitlin Clark talking shit, whether that's to players, to officiators, whoever, referees, other coaches. I don't care. Caitlin, I mean, I'm a Caitlin fan, and I want that expressed. I'm not a hater. I'm not a part of the problem. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to understand. You have to situationally put yourself in those shoes and say, if you address people a certain way, if you push off in certain situations, it's going to come back at you. It is, period. So I want to address that before we get into the rest of the game because everybody talking shit right now. I mean, I don't even know what to say, brother. Like, I mean, you just have to watch the game. So it's definitely crazy to me. And we got my guy, Glenn Richardson is in the comments right now. He said, amen. I know it goes both ways. I don't subscribe that bullshit I'm reading. You know, and Glenn is a diehard Indiana Fever fan. Period. I mean, he is. And I'm not trying to sit here and be biased as a part of Sky Media or even as a Sky fan, as a Chicagoan. But I'll tell you this, Kennedy Carter, shout out to you. Shout out to you, because guess what? Maybe that wasn't a basketball play, but you know what it was? That was a Chicago hoops play. I've been in Chicago my whole life. We've been at courts all over the city. And you see that shit happen at least once a Sunday. You know what I mean? Maybe twice on a Saturday. Like, that's what it is. It's going at each other, competitiveness, that competitive drive. That I'm gonna hit you before you hit me. That's just really what it comes down to. You hit me, I'm gonna hit you 10 times harder. Like, that's what it comes down to. That is what basketball is. That is hoops. We act like it's not. And the craziest part is when it happens to Angel Reese, oh, the media doesn't care. The media doesn't want to talk to Angel Reese about, hey, what happened with that hit what Alyssa Thomas gave you the other night against Connecticut? No one cares. No one cares. And that's what it comes down to. Be fucking for real. Pardon my language, but come on, bro. You need to be better. You need to be better. And if you're a part of media and we're having these conversations right now, you need to be better. You need to be better. Because I'll tell you what, the best part of working in women's basketball over the last 3.5, 4 years that I've been doing it is telling the stories. Telling the stories of these women who don't get to tell their own stories, who aren't heard. And I think the dopest part of that is being able to tell their truth. When you just fall into these narratives, when you just fall into these false accusations and people attacking her on social media right now, this is a 25-year-old young woman. And you got people in the comments with death threats and egregious statements and horrible, just unnecessary shit. You don't know Kennedy Carter. I've been watching Kennedy Carter move and the way she goes about her business for the last 2.5 months in the Sky organization. And I'll tell you what, she is first class. She is an amazing human being. She is somebody that you can look at and go to war with. You know she has your back. Guess what? Caitlin Clark's not on her fucking team, so she's going to address you as such. You are the enemy. You know what I mean? Like, this is like we talked about. Kennedy has said this. Teaspoon has said this. Dana has said this. We're going to hit you first. That's what it comes down to. They are trying to win games. It was a heated exchange. It happens. Move on. You guys baby Caitlin Clark, and I'm over it. I'm not trying to make this about the W versus Caitlin and blah, 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 blah. Caitlin's amazing for the WNBA, and she is going to be an amazing talent, and I believe that. But at some point, you gotta take the training wheels off. You gotta let her ride. Diana Taurasi said it. This is going to welcome to the bigs. Like, that shit's not flying here. You could go around flop all day long. She tried to get that foul call on Angel Reese. Angel Reese sticks out her left hand, and here comes Caitlin flopping 10 feet like LeBron in 13. Like, come on, what are we talking about? Miami, South Bend LeBron. You miss me with all that, brother. Listen, Caitlin Clark had a solid performance, though. Obviously, she hits her first 2 threes in the game and then kind of goes into a slump. But let's get into it. Let's get in tuned. Getting all that out from the field, she was 4 for 11 from 3. She was 2 for 9. Did not hit another 3 the rest of the game, which is crazy because everybody who didn't watch the game wants to say that she started heating up. She had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 11 points. She was -2 in the plus minus. Aaliyah Boston had herself a day with a double-double, damn near 10 points, 8 rebounds. She was solid as well. In the plus minus, she was +4. I loved what we saw from her today. She was 0 for 1 from 3, but from the field, she was 4 for 11 or 4 for 14. Pardon me. Smith was actually, one of the better players, and Mitchell as well, 18 and 17 for them. It was great to see them get involved because obviously the spotlight's always going to be on Caitlin, but more so than not, you see how much Mitchell can really create spacing for this team. I loved what we saw. I loved the way they moved. I loved the way they cohesively just kept trying to get everybody involved. I think that was really the key Achilles heel for the Chicago Sky. When we talk about the Sky and what they were able to do today defensively, I think they were great. Let's not say great. I think they were solid defensively today. I think they could have been better. They understood they have minute restrictions on Isabel Harrison and Kamilla Cardoso. They're slowly getting into it. It's their first game playing together fully since the injury against the Minnesota Lynx in preseason for Kamilla Cardoso, which was a month ago, a little less than a month ago, if I would say. But let's get into it, man. You look at Angel Reese today, -2 in the plus minus, 8 points, 13 rebounds. You look at those rebounds, 8 of them offensive rebounds. That is crazy. Elizabeth Williams had herself a day, not offensively like we saw the other night. 2 points in this game, only 5 rebounds. Marina Mabry, 15 points, missed the final free throw, but It happens. Things like that can't happen, but it happens. 9 rebounds, 8 of them defensive rebounds. He had 2 assists on the day. Dana Evans had 12 points as well. 4 and 4 in assists and rebounds. Isabel Harrison had 3 points, 2 rebounds as a whole, 1 defensive, 1 offensive. Kamilla Cardoso plus 11 in the plus minus in minute restrictions in her first game in the WNBA. 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of them defensive. I love what we're seeing right now from that tandem of Angel Reese getting offensive rebounds and Kamilla Cardoso getting defensive rebounds. They're both meeting each other at other ends, and they have been phenomenal. So I can't wait to see that unit continue to get better, continue to grow. Kennedy Carter was leading for the Chicago Sky. Off the bench, she was the highest scorer, +6 in the plus minus, 19 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds, 3 being defensive, 1 offensive rebound. What we saw from her today was solid. What we saw from Kennedy Carter was somebody who's willing to fight, willing to go, willing to get after it. And everybody wants to say, oh, well, if she didn't foul Caitlin, they would have won this game. Okay, and if Marina would have hit one of the final free throws, they would have went into overtime. Or if Angel hit one of her final shots, they would have went into overtime or would have won the game. We can do this all day long. I'm not pinpointing this loss on anybody. Cohesively, I think the team got away from the 3 ball just a little bit. If I could pull up the stats here, I don't have a box score sheet right here, but I'm trying to look it up on ESPN. Let's see if they give it to me. We cannot really see the 3-point percentage from the Chicago. Okay, here it is right here. So the Chicago Sky in this game did not shoot amazingly well from 3. They shot 16.7% from 3, 2 for 12, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading that correctly. It just wasn't great. And both of those threes came from Marina Mabrey. 16.7% from 3 is just not what we expect from this organization. Dana Evans has to get after it. Kennedy has to get after it. I would like Marina to take more shots, to be completely honest. Marina Mabrey was 2 for 6 in this game. I felt like they could have probably pumped her up a little bit from 7 to 10 range. I think that's really the game plan for a team like this. I'm going to say this in the most respectful way possible. This is a team that shouldn't be 2-8 at this moment, going into this game 1-8. They shouldn't be. I don't think they're coached extremely well. I think they have a group of solid players, but I don't think they've played well and meshed well together. That's the difference. Everybody, every reporter, every organization, every fan base is going to say, well, you got a great group of players. You look at this box sheet and you got great names. Why don't they play well together? Sometimes you just have to put players in position who have success. We talked about it on the other day's show. Rebecca Gardner, Elizabeth Williams, Isabel Harrison, Kalia Copper, Courtney Williams of last year's team. That was a team that was going to be able to play very well together that just didn't get an opportunity to do so due to health reasons. But I feel the same way about this team. You bring in, a Kennedy Carter, you have Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso, you have Elizabeth Williams, Isabel Harrison still here, and Marina Mabrey and Dana Evans obviously space out the floor with the 3 ball as well. So, I love what we're seeing right now from the Sky organization. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to get better, and Teresa Weatherspoon being at the helm, that's everything you need right there. That's everything you need, because you need this team to be able to be in a situation to where they have a leader. They have somebody who's going to be able to compose them, who's going to be able to let them know, hey, listen, fuck all the noise, fuck anything else going on. We are focusing on ourselves right now. And I think that's the best thing for the Chicago Sky, pardon me. But, it's definitely interesting, man. It's definitely interesting. Here's a comment right here that I also would like to address. It's not a negative comment. It's a valid conversation. Would have won if Kamilla was out there more. And that's obviously, we're not going to put that on Kamilla, or we're not going to put that on Teaspoon either. She is on minute restrictions right now, coming off of an injury, a serious injury for someone of her stature, someone of her height. A shoulder injury is nothing to play with, especially when you're banging with bigs, like she does in the paint. So it's definitely something for me. Where that's okay if we drop this game. You know what I mean? Listen, respectfully, the Commissioner's Cup goes all the way through June 13th. I'm not worried about the Commissioner's Cup. I do not care whatsoever. I am not, we are not a small market team. Small market teams respectfully care about the Commissioner's Cup. I do not care. Once the playoffs get going, that's when it matters. We need to just get that chemistry. We just need to continue to build and capitalize on good wins, quality wins, and we're going to be just fine. And I don't mean to be passive aggressive in this entire pod. I'm watching social media move. I'm watching people talk shit, and say the most outlandish things just because of Caitlin Clark. And I don't want to be that guy at all. I don't want to be that guy whatsoever. But I will be that one guy, and I will say this: there is different levels to how the media treats white athletes and minority athletes. There is a huge difference, and if you don't think there is, then there's a problem. The way you treat minorities, the Angel Reeses of the world, always painting them out to be the bad guys. You know what I mean? You have situations where, like we talked about earlier, Alyssa Thomas just dropping Angel Reese. Not a lot of coverage on that. I probably had the most coverage on that because I was there. ESPN, they posted one thing about it and then they let it go. I have seen a million videos already of Kennedy Carter hitting and dropping Caitlin Clark. And I'll tell you this. One, you want to say that's not a basketball play? Yeah, that's a tech for sure, but it's a basketball play. You grow up watching Chicago hoops, you grow up hooping in Chicago or anywhere and wherever you're from. I'm sure you've seen plays like that a million times. That happens, like I said earlier, it happens once on Sundays because it's God's day, and it happens twice on Saturdays because tempers fly. This shit happens. This is not, listen, we're not saying thank you every time we hit a three. You know what I mean? Like, this is a competitive game. This is a competitive nature. This is what happens. This is the WNBA. This ain't fucking college. Like that, period. That's what it is. This isn't high school. You know what I mean? I don't care what anybody says. Like, I think I'm proud of this team. I'm excited to see what the future holds for them. They need to be better. They need to shoot the three ball better. They need to rebound a little bit better. What we're seeing right now is a team that is growing and learning. And Spoon just talked about that in post-game media. They are getting better together every single day. And I'm not worried if they drop a couple games. So what are we now on this season? Let me make sure. I got it. Are we 3-3 if I'm not mistaken? Let me check. Let me make sure. 3-4. Pardon me. I'm all over the place. We've had a lot of games in a few amount of days. But we got a few off days, man. We're gonna be back at it. I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun to see Kennedy Carter continue to grow, continue to get better every single day. She has been explosive. She has been 10 times better offensively than I thought she was going to be. And that's not a shot on her. That's just from what we've seen throughout her career. She is proving that she is going to be a vital piece to this team, and I'm super excited to see her continue to grow. Kamilla Cardoso back in the building. We got the Twin Towers right now, and Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso. You know what? We might even have the triplets, honestly, when you have, maybe even quadruplets when you bring in Isabel Harrison and Elizabeth Williams as well. So the sky just got 10 times bigger. We got some skyscrapers in the building now, and I'm really excited to see how they get in tune, get about it. But with that being said, man, let's get into it. Let's talk about it really quick. Before we get out of here, you can check me out at theshy.kid on TikTok and Instagram for pre- and post-game interviews with Chicago Sky players and coaching staff. You can always check us out on Give Us a Shot Network. So make sure you give us a like, give us a subscribe button, hit that follow button, like, whatever you got to do, comment, share. We're in there like swimwear 24/7 covering WNBA basketball, NBA basketball. We have Mavs versus Celtics, and of course, the Chicago Sky. I am Mike Hughes, aka the Shy Kid. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back Tuesday, June 4th at 7 p.m. at Wintrust Arena for Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and the New York Liberty against Angel Reese, Kamilla Cardoso, Marina Mabrey, and the Chicago Sky. Until then, appreciate you guys being here. Peace.